Hi, welcome back to another video. So as you would have seen from the title and the thumbnail, in today's video I'm going to be reading 5 translated fiction. So mix of Korean and Japanese literature. I think it just so happened that I had these books, so I was like, why not document my reading journey of reading these books, and 3 out of 5 have been kindly sent to me by Times Reads, so thank you so much to them for sending these over, and the other 2 I borrowed from the library. So there's no reason why I choose to read some of these books first for this video. Literally just started reading the book that is going to be due at the library soon, so yeah. I will introduce the books to you. So first we have Talagat Dream Department Store. I don't know if that's how I say this word, but yeah. I also have the original version. Look at these, they're so pretty, right? This is the Korean original version, and then this is the translated version. So obviously I haven't read it because I have a problem of buying Korean books that are way out of my reading ability and then reading the translated version first and then never going back to the original. Yeah, I don't know why. It's kind of intimidating, but I should read it because one book is $14, 1/4, so I should get to it. Yeah, it's a problem. Anyway, this is the very beautiful second book, so probably good chance to read this and then read this. But yeah, let's not talk about the album video that I made so many years ago that never got published because literally got tired of reading the original version. Then I went to read the English translated, and then I didn't like the translated version, so I just wanted to sell off my original. Let's not talk about that. Yeah, so this is the first book, and I'm actually currently reading this, so I'll share about my thoughts later. Next is also from the library, The Lantern of Lost Memories. This is a super thin book, which is great because I really need to finish this soon. Both of them are due soon at the library, so yeah. I don't know, this cover just really drew me in, and it kind of reminded me of Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which is one of my favorite, if not favorite, translated fiction of all time. I have a copy of, but I'm too lazy to go get it. You know what, I'm just gonna get it. Oh, they're all here. Oh my gosh. Hold up, I have them all. Yo, I have them all. I have all the best translated fiction I've ever read. Maybe I should make a separate video about this. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep these. I mean, you can technically guess. I find it so amazing that all my translated fiction books are just right here, and they're in like my favorite corner of my bookshelf also, which makes me very happy. So yeah, this mini monologue while I sort my bookshelf out. So while I can't explicitly say which books that I really liked, you would probably know from seeing my channel, but I would say that those books got a special place in my heart because the writing didn't feel like it was translated fiction. So the power of the translator of all these books is very important. Next is also the storyline, because I realized some of these books are really 2 sides of life in that there's nothing happening, and I need my stories to have something happening so that I can get a point out of the book that I'm reading. I need to take away something from the book. Yeah, it needs to have a plot that is good, and then also a lesson to take away. And last but not least, it's better if I really resonate with the characters as well. It's very difficult for me to enjoy translated fiction more so than normal books because of these added elements of it being translated from one language to another, which I acknowledge that it's a very difficult job. So yeah, we will see how this goes. I'm very yappy today, I don't know why. I will talk about the particular synopses of each book as I read it, even though this is going to be gone soon, so you can admire this for a little while longer because it's returned to the library. So yeah. Next is I Decided to Live as Me, and it's hardcover. Oh my god, I like that this is an illustrated checklist. I guess this is more of, okay, I need to change the title of my video, translated literature, because I think this is a memoir. Yeah, like this is non-fiction, so gonna be interesting. Good break in between the fiction books, I would say. And it's like so cute. Look at the illustrations. Kind of reminds me of I Want to Die, but I Want to Eat Tteokbokki, that illustration. But yeah. Next is a book that has been with me for a very long time because I really want to love this book, and if I don't love it, I'm gonna be so sad because the cover is so pretty. I expect to love this story. I especially requested from Times Reads, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna be so sad, okay? Yeah, it's really been with me for very long because of the fear I have of reading it. Yeah. And that book is What You're Looking For Is in the Library. It has a cat on it. Look at that. It's so pretty. And then let's look at the hardcover. It's just a plain, what's this color? Orange. But yeah, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. I will not like this book. So nervous, but okay. And last but not least, we have Marigold Mind Laundry. And I am a little bit scared because my friend read this and she was like, I didn't really get much out of this story, so I don't really know what's gonna happen. But yeah, that's the list of books, and it's making me really happy because all the covers are so pretty. Just look at them. Oh my gosh, just admire them. We have contestant A, then we have contestant B, contestant C, contestant D, contestant E. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I need to take all the photos for this to post on my Instagram. But anyway, I've been yapping for too long. Let me talk about this book that I'm currently reading. I am almost done. I'm like this far into Delicate Dream Department Store, and in this story we follow a mysterious town hidden in our collective subconscious. And in this town there is a department store that sells dreams, which is the Delicate Dream Department Store. Day and night you have visitors who are both humans and animals visiting the store to purchase dreams. So it's like, it took me a while to wrap my head around it because it's basically like saying that they come in when they are sleeping and then they are purchasing dreams. We follow our main character Penny, the whole story of how she gets to work in this department store, and then she is providing you that new person perspective of this world that's getting introduced to the whole department store, how it works, and all the different like systems, ins and outs and things like that, which is interesting. Like you get to meet a lot of characters as well, including the founder of this department store, colleagues, other dream makers, just different people she runs into in this world, other colleagues as well from different levels because it's a huge department store. But I would say that the isn't really going anywhere, which is kind of sad because I like that in every chapter you get introduced more of this world, but it's not really complete, I would say. For example, right, let me talk about Before the Coffee Gets Cold. So that one, you have a series of short stories wherein you feature a different customer coming to the cafe, and from those stories you also get to find out a little bit more about the main coffee shop characters' past and stories as well. So I like that there's that connection. But for this one, while you understand more about this department store, I would like to know more about the different characters instead, if that makes sense. So from this you can tell that I am a character person more than a plot person, because while I know a lot of things about this store now, I'm not super like invested in this book. Yeah, there's like nothing particularly wowing me, there's nothing particularly making me like, oh, I like the writing, or like this particular quote is good. It's just me getting to know about this department store, which is good, but I wouldn't say that I love it so far. Yeah, I do like the discussions about dreams though, and how like you have a lot of different types of dreams being sold in this store, and the fact that there are also bad dreams and they are sometimes needed for you to overcome your own insecurity or trauma. These kinds of things resonate well with me. And also understanding how like the payment works for this department store. Like some of them, they buy the dream and then they only need to pay when they feel certain emotions from the dreams. So if they don't feel anything, they don't need to pay, which these aspects are interesting to me. But I need more of them to be more interested also. If you aren't already hooking me in with characters, give me more in the plot. I would say it really just feels like a slice of life kind of book, which maybe it's just not my genre. So we shall see how. I will update you once I am further into this very yappy start to this vlog. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll come back to you soon. Not showing my face today because I am not in a good state. Can't stop coughing, but I wanted to show you the book one last time before it gets returned to the library. So that's why it is in this state. So I finished it. Overall, my thoughts largely remain the same, apart from there was one last part about certain dreams that gets talked about in this book that I thought was a really good addition, and I wish that it was explored upon more. Like, it was the most touching part of this story to me, and it was literally the last few pages before the epilogue, so I was like, that's a little wasted opportunity. So trigger warnings for child death, grief, death of parent, terminal illness, suicidal thoughts, ableism, and chronic illness. In the end, I decided to give this a 3.25 stars. On to the next book. Bye. Hi, very quick one because I'm rushing to leave the house. I am about 1/3 of the way through The Lantern of Lost Memories. It's a very thin book. super thin, and it has only 3 short stories: the old lady and the bus, the hero and the mouse, and Mitsuru and the last photo. So I just finished the first short story and thought it was a good time to come and update. And this one really reminds me of Before the Coffee Gets Cold, because it's kind of like magical realism fantasy, in that this one, it's about this photography studio, Mr. Hirasaka's photography studio. I think generally the idea is that when you die, you first visit this studio and there will be a stack of photos delivered to the studio, one for every day of your life for all the years that you've lived. And so they will be asked to choose a photo from each year that captures their most treasured memories, and then it will be put together in a lantern. Once completed, it will spin and then it will flash before their eyes and guide them to another world, which I would presume is the afterlife. It's like how for photos, when you treasure a particular photo, you will thumb over it more and then it'll become more faded, right? So that's the same concept with their photos, in that if they treasure this particular memory, the photo will look more faded and they have the chance to go back to that day and take the photo again. This, I assume, is what the studio looks like with this very big camera, and yeah, it's just really atmospheric and I really liked the concept, and I really wish that it was longer. Like, I think it has so much potential, similar with Before the Coffee Gets Cold. You can get to understand more about all these different people's lives and everything like that. And Mr. Hirasaka has a little mystery of his own as well. It might be spoilers, so I'll put a spoiler warning. Essentially, he says that he arrived there with only one photo. He has no recollection of who he was before this, and he's also trying to figure that out. And I think that's really interesting. I really like the concept and enjoying this quite a bit. Maybe it's just the way Japanese literature is written. Like, when it's translated, I tend to prefer Japanese fiction more than Korean. Like, the only other Korean translated fiction that I've enjoyed is Welcome to the Hyunam-dong bookshop, but maybe it's because I haven't read a lot of it. I don't know, but yeah, I really like this, and the writing so far is really good as well. The audiobook is great as well. I'm listening to it on my phone with the Libby app. And so yeah, I'm moving on to the second chapter and I'll come back and update. Hi, so I'm coming back to update because I have finished The Lantern of Lost Memories, and it's, as I mentioned, it's a really short book. I just finished the last 2 other short stories in this, so let's talk about it. Trigger warnings first: child abuse, death, child death, bullying, violence, murder, animal death, war, and animal cruelty. So in the end, I decided to give this book 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it because I found it too short. Like, my only gripe with this book is that it's too short. As I mentioned, I really like the concept in this, and it's really like all the stories in this are essential to form the plot of this main story, and each short story serves a purpose. So the first one, kind of like introducing the world to you. The second one is to invoke certain emotions within you. Actually, second and third are both to invoke emotions within you and just make you feel for this story. And the last one helps to answer a mystery in this story. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's really super short, and okay, like I mentioned, the writing in this is so good. The translator is Jessie Kirkwood. Oh my gosh, the writing is so good. Sometimes it makes me wonder whether it's because the translator didn't do a good enough job of translating the work well enough, or whether the original writing is in this certain manner that makes it difficult to translate, or such that when it's translated, the writing isn't really good, or like maybe the original writing wasn't really good in the first place. But I don't know, no questions about that in this one. The writing is so good. I just really loved it. I don't think, I need to check, I don't think there is a cat in this story. Let me just check. Yeah, the only mention of cat in this is a logo of a white cat on the person's shirt that delivers the photos to this photo studio. It's so good. I really don't want to talk too much about the story because it's so short. I can spoil so much. Just please read it. It's such a short read. You get through it in no time. And yeah, I really felt certain emotions as I was reading the second and third short story. Second one, I was feeling more like sad and touched, and the third one was more of anger and also like, oh my gosh, now we get the mystery solved. I really love this a lot. I think it's gonna be one of my favorites of the year. I didn't give it the full 5 because I really wish it were longer, and I really love all the characters in this. I felt like I was just starting to love it and then the story ended, you know? So it's a good read and it has a soft spot in my heart. I can't give it the full 5 because it's so short. Like, I love it so much that I wanted more. So yeah, then hit the full 5-star feeling too. But yeah, it's so good, really. There's so much potential. It's a standalone from what I researching so far, so I'm really sad about that too. But yeah, I really love this. And yeah, on to the next book, which is I Decided to Live as Me by Kim Soo-hyun. And this one is an illustrated checklist, so you can just see right from the content page, like look at that. And then let me just show you a certain, like look at this. It's full of illustrations, and I think I'll fly through this as well, but it's the only non-fiction that I'm reading in this video. From what I've gathered so far is like the author's personal experience of guidance and encouragement for celebrating yourself and feeling comfortable in your own skin. So there's a lot of like, each chapter is very short, and at the end of each chapter there's a line or a sentence summarizing what the teaching or guidance is. So it feels kind of like educational, I would say, because it's a guidance. Like for example, what is truly important in life cannot be expressed in numbers, you know? So yeah, not much thoughts on this so far. I won't give this a rating because it's non-fiction. That's all I have to say about this so far, and I'll come back when I have updates.
Actually, so relatable. Oh my god, just read this. This is me. This is literally me. My gosh.
Hi, I'm coming back to update because I have finished I Decided to Live as Me, an illustrated checklist for how to stop comparing yourself to others so you can learn to love yourself by Kim Soo-hyun, translated by Anton He. So this is a self-help book, so it's non-fiction and a genre that I don't normally read, so I just wanted to just say that first. This one is really like psychological in that the author will quote Sigmund Freud a lot, and all the psychological concepts that I've learned in social psychology, most of them get mentioned here. Basically, it's about how like self-esteem affects you, other conservatist versus individualistic beliefs as like Asian societies versus Western societies, things like that. I don't have much thoughts on this. There were two quotes that I particularly liked, so let me talk about them. Basically, I mentioned this previously. It was about how the author exaggerated her worries to comfort herself, to the point that whenever she had a cough, she would convince herself it was TB. I used to do that too, in that when I studied for exams, I would always be convinced that I would fail. So like when I didn't actually fail, I was like, okay, so I did better than expected. And it's a really bad habit, but it's just something that I need to learn how to grow out of. And the first step to stop yourself from getting consumed by worry is to rein in your imagination. Like, I relate to it, but I don't really learn how to grow out of it from this book. And another one that I really liked was that when life was hard and the unexpected hit, what helped me through those moments that I could not explain or didn't want to were not any grand gestures, but the friend's calm empathy. Yeah, it's more life lessons, but I don't really come out of it feeling like very inspired and very like, oh, life is so much better. Like I didn't feel that way. So maybe this book is not for me, like I'm not the intended audience for this. Because there's so many chapters and so many lessons, it just kind of feels like very touch and go. So not much thoughts on this, but still thankful to have gotten the chance to read it. And yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about for this book. And next, I will be moving on to Marigold Mind Laundry, and I'll come back to you when I have updates on it. Hi, I'm coming back because I have since finished Marigold Mind Laundry by Yoon Jong-un, and this was translated by Shana Tan, who also translated Welcome to the Hyunam-dong Bookshop, which is one of my favorites. And I don't think I've shared about this story yet, so let me talk about that. In this story, we follow Ji-eun, who has powers, and not just one ability, she has two different kinds of abilities. And when she misuses her powers, she causes her entire family to vanish, such that she then spends 1,000,000 lives searching for them. Then one day, overnight, she creates her own mind laundry in the village of Marigold. In this mind laundry, she converts bad memories into stains on a t-shirt. So after the t-shirt is washed, they emerge as red petals that dance in the air. So in this story, we follow a few characters, and each chapter follows a different main character. So we have a frustrated young filmmaker, a tortured social media influencer, so on and so forth. And so eventually we come to focus more on Ji-eun as well, on her own story and what happens to her. So let's talk about trigger warnings. Trigger warnings for grief, death, infidelity, mental illness, suicidal thoughts, pregnancy, suicide attempt, bullying, and death of parent. So overall, I decided to give this 3.25 stars because it's a similar concept. These kinds of heartwarming stories wherein there is something magical realism involved and then the characters go through a journey of healing has been done many times before. I would say that the concept and execution of this was done a little confusingly. Like at certain points I was very confused as to where we were at in the story, like what's happening. Okay, from the start, right, we go through this chapter, a prologue about how Jiyeon's parents met and then how they come to have powers or something like that, or it's just something that's innate, and it was quite confusing. I only started to understand more of the story when eventually the Marigold Mind Laundry was set up, so I would have preferred if we went straight into that, and then we find out more about Jiyeon's story through interactions with the different people that come to visit her laundry. I would say that overall I wasn't really super in love with this story. Like, it was enjoyable, like an okay read, which is why I gave it 3.25 stars, but it's not a favorite is what I'm trying to say. And the fact that it was translated by Shanna Tan and she also translated a favorite book of mine, I would say that I don't think it's the fault of the translator, because I've read another book translated by this translator and the writing was great. So I think perhaps it's the original writing that kind of was so confusing. Yeah, but what I did love about the story though is that there are illustrations in this before every chapter. So you'll see and it relates to the story and the characters, which I thought was good. Yeah, I would say that I got a little confused by the characters' names after a while, because they would still appear in the later chapters and then I would be like, who are you again? Don't really remember. So it's saying something that I don't really recall much about. There's certain characters in this. I would say pick it up if you're interested in the concept, and if you haven't read many similar themes before this, then you might enjoy this more than I did. It's still an okay read. And we're on to the final book that I will talk about later on. Yeah, because I am kind of almost halfway in and I think my thoughts would be similar until the end, so I'm just gonna leave it to the end. Yeah.
Hi, I have come to close out the video because I have since finished the last book, which is What You Are Looking For Is in the Library. And as I mentioned at the start, this one was the one that I was the most scared of getting into because I really had very high expectations for this one. But I feel like it delivered quite well. So okay, let's talk about trigger warnings first. Trigger warnings for fat phobia, sexism, misogyny, body shaming, pregnancy, suicidal thoughts, pedophilia, and bullying. I gave this 4.5 stars because I felt like the writing was really good, apart from one thing that I will mention later on as to why this didn't get 5 stars. I really like the concept of there being a library in this community house where residents living in the neighborhood and in the dorm nearby get to come and experience the facilities there. So it's not just a library, there's also computer classes for those that are interested in learning. There's also, I think, Go classes, like the game Go, other sorts of enrichment things as well. There's so many things apart from the library. It's like a community center, I would say. Obviously, all of the characters at one point in time go into the library and they meet this librarian called Miss Komachi, who is described as very large and overfilling the space behind the counter. She talks to them and introduces them to certain books because she's the librarian who will recommend the books. Then she also include one book that is not exactly what they're looking for, but when they read the book it turns out to be exactly what they needed. And something very unique is that she likes to do felting, so she'll give them a bonus gift with the books. So she'll just say this is for you, and it turns out to have some kind of meaning in it as well as we read about their stories. And because they're all living in the same neighborhood, their stories actually overlap, which I really enjoyed. It's like reading Before the Coffee Gets Cold, in that you get to see the same characters across different chapters, but they're not the main characters. And it made me want to draw a map. This is spoiler, so if you don't want to see, please skip ahead. But this was the map that I drew, and you can't really see anyway because the handwriting is atrocious. There's no planning into this. I just drew it as it was, and it's they're all connected. Look at it. yeah, I really loved it. It's like little Easter eggs in each chapter, if that makes sense. And the writing, because it's a translated book, right, the writing didn't feel translated, it just feels very good, except for the 0.5 that I deducted because of the fat phobia, in that they kept describing the librarian, Miss Komachi, as being very large and very fat, and it's like almost like a mocking kind of tone. And I read from other comments that it's probably because of the cultural values that are in Japan. It's just a way that they view or remark about certain topics. But to me, it's still very jarring. Like, you didn't need to mention that. And the story would have been even better. But yeah, because of that, I couldn't give it the full 5-star. Yeah, but I really love that the thought of a librarian recommending you books that will actually help to solve your problems. And it's not even magical. Like, at the end, okay, this is very spoiler warning. At the end, I think someone went to ask her how does she choose the toys to give out, because they all have some sort of meaning to the characters, and she said that she just chose them at random, and if you happen to find any significance to it, it's like your doing. And I thought that was really good as well, because it's like we often think that we need guidance from others, but oftentimes we choose what meaning to put upon certain objects that we see, and I thought that was really meaningful. Yeah, I really enjoyed like all the different perspectives in this. So there's like, at the start of each chapter there are illustrations like this, and then they will also say like at the start like which character we are going through. So first chapter is Tomoka, 21, women's wear sales assistant, and it's like of various ages and like different genders as well as different occupations. One of them is not even employed. I really liked that because we get to explore different perspectives and like different life experiences and life stages, and you see that despite the life stage, everyone has their own issues. So yeah, I really liked the concept of this, and I will definitely be looking forward to this author's next work and hope that the fat phobia is not present in her next work. Yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I'm glad that we ended with this last book because it's really good. So yeah, read this. And with that, I've come to the end of this video. I don't remember my ranking for at the start, but let me try and find the books and then tell you now. I think I returned the other 2 books because they were library books, but for the physical books that I have, this is my ranking from like most enjoyed to least enjoyed, and then I will insert the overall rankings for the 5 books here in text. So yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel to see more of such content. I hope you're having a great day or a great week whenever or wherever you're watching. Remember to stay hydrated, and I'll see you in my next video. And one last thing, if you have like translated fiction recommendations for me, please leave them in the comments below as well. So yeah,